Hello there everybody. So today we're going to have another video and we're going to add more functionality to our user so we can actually create a login. Now inside a service folder, I'm going to add another interface. We're going to call it user service. We're going to add it to the GitHub, and over here all we're going to do is we're going to create this login. So it's going to return a boolean and it will get a username and a password. Okay, very simple. Now it will throw an exception, but let's not add it right now. In our impl folder inside the service, I'm going to add the implementation of this class, user service impl. Oh, my bad. Service. Okay, let's just change the name, rename the file. Great. Okay, and it's going to implement this user service, and we're going to import this login method. Great. So here we'll check if we actually provided a username and a password which are unique. Okay, so let's inject the user repository already. User repository, and we'll just add the auto wired. Great. Now the only thing that we need to do here is to make sure that the username and the password provided are unique, meaning that in one instance when you provide the username and the password, it should be the correct combination for you to actually log in. And the whole purpose of this method over here is just to return true or false in case you're a legitimate user or not. And if you are, I'll provide you all the resources that you're looking for. And if you aren't a legitimate user, then it's going to return false, and we're just going to send a message to the client telling him that one of the fields or some of the fields are incorrect. Okay, so let's see. The next thing that we want to do is want to check it, right? Now currently we don't have a query that is checking whether the username and the password are correct, so we need to create it ourselves. So we go to not to our user service, we go to repository and we go to user repository. So we need to create a custom query that is going to be checking basically whether we provided the right username and password. So it's going to return a boolean, and remember, like with the previous one we created. Okay, so we write exists with an S at the end, by with a capital B, small y, username with a capital U, and password. And then we provide a string of username by this order and a string password, all small letters. Now let's check what we actually did here. So exists, this is the syntax that is used to see whether you have a combination like that of a username and a password, and it returns a boolean. Then by is again according to what it exists, what, right? It's part of the syntax. Then a username, make sure you type it correctly and you separate each word or start each word separately with a capital letter. So username, and is part of the syntax. I mean, it's very obvious why. And then we add this other field that we have in our username, in our user. Okay, and then we provide username and password. Again, make sure that everything is written correctly, just like it is on your user entity, and with small letters when it comes to the parameters. And that's pretty much it. The only thing that we need to do is just copy that, go to the service, to the user service, to the implementation, sorry. And over here, all I'm going to do is to add this if statement. And inside this if statement, I'm using the user repository, and I'm passing, oh, my bad. I'm passing this exist by username and password. And all I have to do is provide the username and password. Okay, so to this, I'll just add an exclamation mark saying that basically if we didn't find this match, okay, if there's nothing that exists by this username and this password put together, in this case, we throw a new custom exception that basically says that wrong email or password. And we provide an HTTP bad request, and that's that. We're just going to add this, throw this exception and add it to our interface. And if that's not the case, if we've actually found what we wanted, then we're actually going to return true. Okay, that's it. That's what it's going to do. And that's going to be basically checking whether we can provide the user with the resources that we're later going to provide or not. Okay, so let's add it to our controller. We're going to have a separate controller because it's going to be some sort of authorization controller, some sort of, or better yet, an authentication controller. So we'll add it to our controller, and another class is going to, we'll call it user controller. We'll add it, and we'll just copy everything from our user, all the basic annotations that we need. So it's a REST controller, request mapping, and it's going to be API user this time. That's going to be the path. And over here, it's going to be, we'll just return a response entity with a string. We'll call it login, and we can just add in the user. So it's request body and the user entity, and it's going to be a at post mapping. Okay, it's going to be login. So we need to return a string. So, and inject our user service. Yeah, let's go with user service. Okay, so we're going to return a new response entity. Inside, we're going to pass in our user service and do the login, get username, my bad, get password, and inside it's going to be HTTP status okay, A-OK. We just need to catch this exception over here, and we'll surround it with a try catch. We'll catch our custom exception, and here we'll return. Okay, so here it's giving me the red line because it's returning a boolean and not a string. So I'll just add this plus with the double quotes for the string. And over here, we'll just change the entity that we're returning. It's going to be a string. We'll just write to the client. No, we're actually just going to add the custom message with the custom HTTP status. So that's going to be that. We'll refresh. Oh, my bad, I forgot something. I didn't add the auto wired here. Refresh one more time. My bad. I did use this interface instead of using the user impl, which is, oh, I know what I did. I didn't do one thing. Over here, I need to add the annotation service, right? Because otherwise there's no such bean in the context. So we need to add this annotation here for the user service implementation, and make sure that you have the user service implementation that is going to be injected over here. So refresh it again, start the program. We shouldn't have any errors now. Running on port 8080. Okay, so let's add a new one. It's going to be a post request. I'll just copy the URL and just change it to user/login. The body we're going to add, it's going to be raw. I'll change it to JSON, and I'll just copy this part over here. Okay, and let's see if we can log in. So we use the credentials of Mark that we added in the previous episode, and we're just going to click send. Again, everything seems fine. The endpoint seems correct. The user login. It's a post request. Let's send and see if it works. Great, true. There is somebody by the name of Mark with this email. Let's say if we add a different password, we'll change it to 1 to 5. All right, wrong email or password. Okay, change it back to the correct one. Okay, now it's true. And let's change the password a little bit. Make it mark@gmail.com. Click again. Okay, it seems like something is wrong there. Now, what you can do as well to make it a little bit more specific for the user is once you go to over here in our login in the service, is another thing that you can do is you can basically separate the query into two different queries. Exist by an email, right? Exist by the username to check for it. And if it does, it's fine. And then do another check for specifically for the password. And if the password is not correct, you can provide the client with a specific message telling him, hey, the password is not right, okay? Or the email. So you need to check something up. Check your credentials before you enter them again. So that's going to be it for this video. In the next videos, we're actually, well, I don't know. Actually, I'm not sure. We could start working on a front end so we can actually make it a little bit more interesting with the front end experience, or we can add more security. Okay, in any case, this is the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want other things that you want me to elaborate on, just go ahead and tell me. I mean, it's fine. I have a lot of knowledge in Spring, so if you have any questions and you want me to maybe make this project a little bit different, and you want me to show you some other things, just go ahead and write to me. Okay, write in the comments. If you're interested in a particular subject and you want me to work on a project that is based on something else, go ahead and write to me. I love programming. I love everything cybersecurity related. And if you're interested as well, just go ahead and subscribe. You have a good day. Bye-bye.